Welcome to The Walk-In, a podcast where doors stay open and stories unfold one conversation at a time. Hosted by Christopher Michael Sean, author, poet, actor, and lifelong student of people and purpose. Here, you're more than just a listener. You're part of the room, part of the story. In every episode, someone sits down, breathes deep, and shares what drives them, what keeps them moving, and what keeps them dreaming. This is a space for dreamers, doers, and those still finding their way. So pull up a chair, pour something warm, and let's take a walk into the soul.
Shit, how long has it been? Like, fucking 15, 20 years now?
Has it been? I don't know if it's been 20 years, but I know that makes me feel ancient, bro. I know that you were friends with John, with my brother, whenever he was in middle school. I think we started being friends a little bit after 8th grade. I think it was like 8th or 9th grade, right?
Yeah, because like what had happened was after elementary school, because that was the last time I remember seeing John. I hadn't seen either of you at Caps for like the longest time. I don't know what happened, but like I never saw either of you at Caps. And then when I got to high school, I think it was like junior or senior year, your mom had invited me over to y'all's house for John's birthday, and after that we all started like kind of hanging out again.
Yeah. So basically, what happened? I don't know if you knew this, but I mean, you should. Was the whole 2011 thing? My mom got a divorce with my stepdad, and we were put in DHS custody for a while. So like during that time, we weren't really going to Caps. We were going to school down in Lawton. So that's what happened. But yeah. So, yeah, Laroy, my best friend of like 15 some odd years, known you for a very, very long time. We've been through the shit. You've seen me go through some shit. You've seen every piece of lore that I've been through. Yeah, we're just gonna shoot the shit today. So, I think pretty much the premise of this episode is just to hang out. We're just gonna chill. So tell me what's been going on. You said you've got some like video games on your roster of like what you want to play, what you've been playing?
Yeah, there's actually a game coming out in February that I was really wanting to try because after the first, or no, not after the first, after the last two games that have come out, like we're going back to like, well, shit, I should probably say what the game is. Uh, the game is Resident Evil 9, and I've played most of the ones up to this point. Like everything from 4 up to this one that's not out yet. I've played most of them.
Yeah, I
I
know we
haven't
used
played
to.
those.
Yeah, we used to play. I think we played 4 a lot, and then we played 5 like it was a fucking religion. I remember that. 5 was the one with the. I can think of it, but I don't remember how to describe it. The one dude that was like the Matrix, he could fucking teleport around and do the move where he can dodge bullets and shit.
Yeah, that was Wesker.
Yeah, Wesker. That was 5, right?
Yeah, 5 was based in Africa, and you spent the whole game with a partner that you could either solo with, and you could just play with the AI, or have your friend either play split screen with you, or they could be on another system and play with you online.
Yeah, yeah. Bro, honestly, I know that I got sick of it a lot, but it was really cool. Like, I'd never 100%ed a game. That was the only game that I ever like got really close to 100% in because we kept going back in and replaying it just to where we can get like newer guns and upgrades and stuff like that. So you said the latest one is 9. So do you know anything about 9?
Most of the stuff I know is the main character of 9 isn't going to be a main character that we've seen before. It's mainly going to surround this reporter chick whose name is Ashford or Ashcraft, something with Ash in it.
That's
Anyway, she's
cool.
going to be up. Hasn't been anything like internet breaking like there was with 8 because Resident Evil 8 had Lady Dimitrescu and thick
The
vampire chicks
internet
out on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, the internet lost its mind over Lady Dimitrescu. Let me tell you, the Resident Evil 8 was an absolute fucking travesty for the community. They didn't care about the game. They they were there for the lore. If you catch my meaning, definitely a
So
nice set
many,
of lore.
so many people only played the game because of her, because of Lady D and her three daughters, which I don't remember the names of all of them. I think it's like Cassandra, Bella, and Vanessa's the one.
Honestly, I would be so down to play it again. I haven't played it in a while. I don't think I own that game. But honestly, like with how good the graphics were, the performance, the story, the pacing, and the thing is a lot of games nowadays they kill the fact of like, oh, we can't do multiplayer or we can't do single player because multiplayer is taking over the genre of gaming. It's like there are so many really good games out there that literally prove that single player is still alive and well. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. I love Helldivers. I love Battlefield. I love these big names. But whenever I can sit down with a single player game and just have fun, like, it's also cool because you can also play with, like, a friend and stuff. But in 8, I don't think you could play with anybody else. I think 8 was strictly a single player game, right?
Yeah, 7 and 8, you couldn't have a partner like in 5 and 6.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong. Loved 5. I loved how you could have a partner. I hated having the AI because I feel like the AI always fucked shit up. It was always dying, always doing something weird. But then like in what was 6 again? I forget what 6 was.
6, there were a bunch of different characters because you chose whose story you wanted to go through. There
I
was
don't.
Leon's, Chris's story, Jake's story, and Jake was the son of Wesker. And there was also Ada's story, which you could play after you did the first 3.
Do you have? Are these games that you have like the physical copies of, or are they digital?
I have the physical copy of 5. I don't have 6 at all, though.
Do you have? The only reason I'm asking is because I can go on, I can log into your account and share play with my account so that I can play it. Is 8 on there? The one with Lady D? Because I might play 6 and then I might play 8 tonight probably.
I think 7 I have a physical copy of, but 8 should be digital, yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I'll probably do that, bro. Because honestly, like, I've been playing the crap out of like single player games. Like I've been playing through Fallout again, and like the thing about Fallout 4 is whenever you upgrade to the anniversary, and I think even without the anniversary, they did this update in Fallout 4 where, and you're aware of this, I know.
Mm.
Basically, none of the Creation Club stuff shows up as missions anymore. You have to discover it. Like it's literally implemented as a feature in the game. So, and it's cool because I used to kind of be annoyed that whenever you join the game, you'd get like a fuck ton of missions from around the map. I like having a clean mission log, but it also sucks because like there's like 20 dogs in the creation club that you can go find and adopt, and now it's like you don't have the locations of them. But it also makes sense because now it's the game kind of forcing you to go explore, kind of forcing you to do that. But I wish Fallout 4, I wish they would have updated it to where, you know how NPCs can say, hey, go check out the combat zone, or hey, go do this. I wish that Fallout 4 had done a system like that where they would have done it to where NPCs would talk about the different missions. Like, oh, hey, I heard there's a corgi up north. You should go get them or whatever. Like, I know that would have taken a lot. It would have taken paying voice actors and stuff like that. But I feel like it would have been a lot better than just saying, oh, hey, good luck. And I think that honestly, single player games are on the up and up. I've heard a lot of good things about the latest Fallout. Apparently, it's supposed to be really good. GTA 6, I don't know. I've heard some good and bad things about their ideas with that. I heard that the creators of GTA 6 also they're setting up a system for somebody who's only got like so long to live. Apparently, they're very terminally ill. They're not going to make it to the launch date of GTA 6, so like Rockstar is going to let them play early, which is super cool because they're like a huge fan of GTA. So I think that's dope. But I mean, Resident Evil, I've always had like a special love for Resident Evil because it's not just all surface level. There are a lot of morality questions, and it's just so well put together, and it doesn't perform. That's what I like about Resident Evil. It's not something that's like, oh hey, look at us, we're super shiny. No, it's like, hey, we're gonna put this out there, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
I think the best thing about like how the series has like changed over time, even with like the remake, is like every game was kind of like different in a sense because like in 4 you had the mission of going and rescuing the president's daughter. In 5 it was um there's this dude in Africa causing problems, go figure out what's happening, arrest him if you can and kill him if you can't. And then it just evolved into everything else that happens like in the I'm gonna say second half of the story.
Yeah,
6, you gotta
yeah.
go find dead wife. or well, your wife that you thought was dead. And 8, your baby gets kidnapped and you got to go save it. And now there's 9 where something fishy is going on somewhere and it's connected to your main character's past. So she has to go figure out what's happened.
I like that though. I don't know. I like that everything's like a little bit different, but I do sometimes wish that there'd be a bit of variety. It's like even in Fallout, like, oh, my father left the vault. I have to go find him. Oh, my son's been kidnapped. I have to go find him. And then New Vegas is just like somebody fucking shot me in the face. I have to go I have to go get revenge now. Like that's a dope story. Like Vegas, I feel like Vegas, like our character in Vegas had every reason to be pissed. Um, but and then there's some stories that's just like Death Stranding, where it's like, oh hey, go deliver this package. I have never played Death Stranding, but I did have the ending spoiled for me just this morning. And yeah, I literally just thought it was a game about delivering a package. I didn't think it had any lore. Apparently, it has lore. Um, so, uh, and then
I
like
think the crazy
Cyberpunk, huh?
New Vegas. Well, the crazy thing about New Vegas was that if Benny doesn't shoot you in the head, he just like robs you and he just like takes the chip and then leaves you. And it would have been fine. You probably wouldn't have pursued him. You could have just went back to the Mojave Express and been like, "Oh, guards double crossed us, took the package. Sucks, but it is what it is. What's my next job?"
Yeah, because Benny was supposed to guard you, right? And then he betrayed you.
Yeah, it was Benny, and then the cons that he was with were supposed to protect you.
Yeah, like that shit's crazy. Or like if Benny had offered you money, because like I know that I think there's a moment where Benny offers you money to like side with him or some shit. Like if he had done that originally, if he had done anything but shoot you in the face, I feel like the courier wouldn't have cared. You know? Hey, here's 250 caps. Go fuck off. Because whenever you deliver the chip, I don't think you get very many caps from it, do you?
I think it's like either 500 or 1,000. It's somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, and I feel like Benny, being, probably one of the richer people in Vegas, probably could have just given you 1,000 caps and told you to fuck off. Like, here's 1,000 caps. You don't have to deliver it to Vegas. I'll take care of it from here. Like, you have no attachment to house. You don't care. You're just a courier. You just deliver packages you know and then he had to go out and do all that other crap. I love Vegas. I do. I love New Vegas. I wish, and a lot of people do love Vegas as well. um it's like the number one game in the series. We don't talk about 76. We say 76 doesn't exist. There is no 76 in Bossing Say. uh
Crazy
Fucking
thing about like that game is the fact of like if they make survivor mode fucking mandatory, and if they hadn't brought back like durability on weapons and armor, people would have loved the game. Like, don't get me wrong, that first year did kind of suck. Also, with the fact of like there were a lot of robots, but there were no like human NPCs, and they eventually fixed that. But for me, the two biggest problems were durability being a thing again after they weren't in Fallout 4, and then well, in Fallout 4 it was, but for power armor.
yeah.
It was also the
my
thing of survivor mode wasn't optional. You had
my
hunger, thirst, you had disease.
Yeah, yeah. My biggest thing with 76 is they needed a campaign mode. Like literally, I love the idea of going into multiplayer, but it shouldn't be mandatory. And the fact that you have to pay a subscription every month just to have basically a single player game. And the thing is none of it's canon. They should have done a, hey, this is the canon campaign for the area because everybody loves the lore of Fallout. That's the biggest reason one of the biggest reasons we play Fallout is for the lore. The only reason I would ever go back to 1 and 2 is to see the lore that might have tied into the later games. Like whenever I was playing Fallout 4 earlier and I was playing through the game and I was in the swamp area and I see a destroyed building with like a militia symbol on top and I know it's environmental storytelling. You know what I mean? And I run into a Brotherhood of Steel Paladin and I go into a warehouse to save him and then he dies before I'm able to save him. And I'm just like, damn it. It's environmental storytelling and it's all canon, it's all part of the story. And then you watch the Fallout show and you're like, oh, this is, they're deciding what's canon and what's not, what did happen, what didn't happen. And we're seeing how everything ended. Whenever we saw the Pridwin, we're like, oh, okay, so the Brotherhood of Steel did survive. That doesn't mean that they won. It doesn't mean that's the faction the main character chose. It just means that they survived, which means either one, the Minutemen ending was canon, or two, the Brotherhood ending was canon. They also said that Pridwin was actually created before the war, and the Brotherhood of Steel just repaired it. And we know that's true because most of what the Brotherhood does is they just collect old technology and fix it up. I mean, look at Liberty Prime. They literally took him, fixed him up from Anchorage to, use later on. And I honestly, I love the environmental storytelling that Fallout, exhibits, but I just hate how in 76, they're like, oh yeah, nothing you do is canon. None of it. West Virginia is, I've been to West Virginia IRL. It is such a beautiful state, and the game had so much potential. Oh my god. And the Mothman and all of that, the animals, the enemies, it had so
I
much
think
potential. And it's a
I think
gorgeous game.
the biggest reason as to why they can't be canon is you got to think in '76 there were so many different like things that weren't in any other game, like not even just the weapons, but like the excavator power armor, the fact that the Enclave had access to remnant armor. There's a vault that has all the nation's gold. Like hell, whenever I remember back when me and you were uh playing 76 and like not really giving a fuck about anything until we heard that, and I was like, hey bro, you want to do a heist?
Yeah. Yeah, no, seriously, I'm just thinking to myself, like, how is there a vault full of the nation's gold? And how has it not been, like, taken over by raiders? Because we've seen how easily, like, look at Vault 75 or 95, how quickly that vault was taken over by the gunners. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy to me. I love games that tell a story, that have lore, that have a meaning behind it, and I just really wish that more games would come out and not go, "Oh, well, we're just a selling point. We just want money." And I've been playing a lot of simpler single player games, and I have a friend Sayer. He's actually here in the Discord. We've had an episode with him before on the podcast where we literally like he's creating his own indie game, and it's cool because he's creating little lore bits and he's creating story. And I think, and this is something I talked about in previous episodes as well, is the authenticity of humanity is slowly coming back, and I think people are craving it. And especially with the addition of AI, people are craving authenticity, people are craving real humanity, and that's why these big gaming companies are dying off. That's why these big companies outside of just gaming are dying off, is because they're not authentic anymore. They're not real anymore. They haven't adapted to the Gen Z, Gen Alpha mentality of like, hey, we want real shit. We don't want this, fabricated bullshit. We want real shit. So I think honestly, I think we're gonna be in for hopefully some good stuff coming up. I hope Fallout 5 impresses. I've heard theories that it's going to be based in San Francisco. Um, I personally would love to see. I would okay. So whenever in Fallout 4, whenever you see Kellogg's backstory, like whenever you're searching through his memories and you see his backstory, and one of them you see the Golden Gate Bridge, I really think that that might have been a hint as to what the next game was going to be. But then Fallout 76 came out. I was like, oh, never mind. But how cool would it be to meet Kellogg like in that area from before the war? Or not before the war, but before he moved to the Commonwealth. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I think something else that would be fun is if you can like go to San Francisco, and you know how um the second Black Ops they had that one zombie map where you were in Alcatraz and you eventually got to like the San Francisco Bridge, so you could pack a bunch of weapons.
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
I feel like that would be something cool. Like, oh, in Alcatraz, we made a vault for the prison inmates, and it could
Could
be an
you
experiment of
imagine?
like, yeah, and it could be like an experiment of like, shit. What am I trying to say? Like, what if the prisoners rose to power?
Because here's the thing. I don't know if you knew this, but there's actually a lot of like stuff with Alcatraz. Like one of the things is like everybody in Alcatraz got hot showers. Like they got like really good warm hot showers. But the reason was is so their bodies wouldn't be used to the cold temperatures, so that if they tried to swim in the river to escape, they would freeze to death. And I honestly think that would be super cool to like add that real life lore into like a vault in Alcatraz. Like imagine if Alcatraz was a map in a San Francisco setting. You know what I mean? Like what if you're one of the prisoners? That would honestly, first of all, it would be funny because most of the Skyrim games you're a prisoner and you escape or whatever. But then also like you're putting that into Fallout. You're a prisoner in the underground Alcatraz. It would be so cool to see, you know? And we could run into Kellogg. We could run into other characters. We could see what's going on that side of the world because we haven't been in the California area since Vegas, since New Vegas. It's been a long time.
You
Um,
know how
but
in Skyrim there was that Markarth prison where they made you mine.
yeah,
Alcatraz, where like if you were a prisoner, you had to do like some kind of work,
that would be cool. That would be
and
cool.
like
I'd love that.
the way you get out is the same. Well, not exactly the same, but similar to how um you escape Helgen. Is like choose somebody that you want to escape with, whether it's like a prison guard or one of the other inmates.
Yo, imagine I don't know. I'm in with the Kellogg thing, but imagine if you have the choice of like what if you're in prison with Kellogg? You don't realize it until later, like you don't run into him until later, but you see Kellogg, like a younger version of Kellogg, and like what if what if in that Fallout you have the option to team up with him? Wouldn't that be crazy? I feel like that'd be crazy.
Honestly, with everything that was happening after Nick had to use his brain, it should have been a thing of sometime Kellogg talk or
Dude,
tell Nick, hey, I want to talk to the other dude real quick.
I am so mad at the absolute fucking potential. I see whenever I play Fallout 4, I see so much shit that they could have grown out. They could have done so much with what they gave us. You know what I mean? Like not even just with Nick Valentine, but Nick Valentine is the biggest thing in Fallout 4 where it's like there should have been more to him. You know what I mean? There should have been way more to him, but there just wasn't, and that fucking sucks. I mean, think about it. You're able to upgrade Curie. You're able to, you know, get Paladin Dance to basically leave the Brotherhood of Steel, and all this other stuff. You're able to cure Kate from her, addiction. Why can't you? Like the most you could do with Nick is deal with the past Nick's bullshit. Don't get me, it's not bullshit. I do love past Nick lore. Even whenever I play now and I run into a police station, I'm like, oh, I have to get that Eddie holotape. I have to find it. Like I usually know where it is. I gotta go get it. But then like there's so much with Kellogg. Like when that scene when Kellogg is speaking through Nick Valentine, like I hope you got what you needed inside my head. I was right. I should have taken you out while you were on ice. Like there's so much to that. And then at the very beginning of the game, whenever you're called the backup, like, dude, there should have been more with Kellogg. I wish there would have been more dialogue with Kellogg. I feel like like you meet Kellogg, there's like 5 sentences, and then, but I think we've taken enough time to talk. Like, no, dude, like you stole my son and killed my wife. Let me talk to you a bit more. You know what I mean? I'm not saying let's sit down and have tea, but shit. Like imagine if you're walking around the wasteland with Kellogg, and it just or with Nick, and Kellogg starts talking through Nick's vocal cords, and it just like tells you a bit about the history of wherever you are, or he makes a comment, or he says, "Oh, I remember this place," or "Oh, there was one time in San Francisco," or whatever. You know?
Something else I
Imagine,
think
bro.
done is how Fallout doesn't really have like dual wield guns. It could
Yeah.
be a thing. Um, if you decided to keep Kellogg's gun and with Nick one time, um, he decides after you do the relationship quest and like the game's all finished story wise, uh, he'll either take his gun from your inventory if you have it on you, or he'll take it from wherever you have it stored, or back to his body if that's where you left it. He'll take Eddie's piece. He'll mod that one up to make it basically the same as the one he's using. And then you have to get into a final battle with Kellogg while he's controlling Nick. Then after you beat him, either have to you have to choose to either kill Nick so that Kellogg can't come back again, or you have to reset Nick and be a whole nother synth.
Yo, that would be insane. Like a final boss battle, then you finally manage to like hack into Nick. Either either one, you erase Nick to, kill off Kellogg to keep Kellogg from coming back, or yeah, you pretty much just have to let Kellogg take over kind of. That would be kind of crazy.
But yeah, like so after that, you take both the Magnum, and the game says you can dual wield both these guns. And now dual wielding is an option for handguns and revolvers. It
Yeah,
would
that
be
would be
fucking
cool.
simple. It would
Yeah,
actually
like
make want to play the fucking story.
yeah. Like honestly. Anytime I play now, I only go through the story just to unlock the Pridwin pretty much. Like cuz I don't know, man, whenever you get your son, whenever you save your son and he's just like, "Oh, hey, I came to the surface and the surface is just really fucked." And a lot of people are like, "Oh, if you let the Institute survive, they're going to become like a cyberpunk dystopia." Like, their goal isn't to save the surface. The Institute's goal is not to save the surface. It's literally to thrive underground until the surface dies off, and then they're going to take over the surface. Like, I don't know if you've looked too far into the Institute, but that's literally why they're underground still. Their goal is
Another
to outlive the surface, continue humanity underground. They don't consider the surface world to be humanity. They consider themselves to be humanity. So the reason that they're underground is because they're like, oh yeah, we'll just stay under here. We'll wait for everybody up on the surface to die off from radiation or whatever. And then we'll go up there and we'll take over. We'll rebuild everything and we'll live in a cyberpunk dystopia. Now,
well,
in the Fallout show, we see the Brotherhood of Steel blimp, which pretty much confirms the Institute's destruction because I don't think the Institute would have survived if the Brotherhood did. The Brotherhood was literally there to defeat the Institute, and if you side with the Institute, yeah. Now, I think, personally, I don't know, how far off is the Fallout show from Fallout 4? Let me actually look that up, because I honestly don't know.
but
Fallout
Chris, you gotta think
show.
about it. Like one thing about what the Institute is doing is one that's just vault behavior. Was
Oh.
we're gonna go out underground, wait for everybody else to die, and then once everybody's dead, we'll come up, we'll rebuild, and we'll be good.
Dude, the Fallout show is set 9 years after the events of Fallout 4. So the Fallout 4 main character, the Vault Survivor, the sole survivor, could literally show up in the Fallout show. I'm just saying. That's fucking cool, dude. 9 years after the events of Fallout 4. That is dope. Now the interesting thing is the Pridwin returning to the West. Because didn't the Brotherhood of Steel branch off from the original? So why are they coming back? I need to watch the show, honestly. But like I don't know, like what happened to Elder Maxon? I don't think we saw Elder Maxon in the Fallout show. I have to watch it. I don't really watch the Fallout show, but uh I do have one big theory with Fallout, and this is actually something that I was talking about on Facebook with a couple of friends. I know I'm it's weird that I'm even on Facebook at this point. It's 2026. But
I mean, I
so
don't
we
care what
know.
streaming service people use. If if you like that social media and that's where your friends are, and that's where your friends are.
Yeah,
Like
that's
whenever I
true.
was, everybody was on Kick, and I was just like, what's the difference?
Yeah. Yeah. So, Vault-Tec. I think you probably agree with this. Vault-Tec is probably in space somewhere. Like probably on the moon, on Mars, on other planets and shit. Would you agree?
I mean, it's possible, but they would have had to have done that before the fucking bombs dropped. And I feel like something as big as a shuttle launching into space, that always makes news, at least in America.
Think about it like this though. Because if you look at Megaton, there was a vault there was a nuke with the Vault-Tec symbol on it. We know, I think it is in New Vegas, where the aliens are hovering above Earth. We know the aliens are hovering above Earth, and we know they haven't had an altercation with Vault-Tec in terms of abducting them, because none of the humans they have in the ships are Vault-Tec at all. We also know that Vault-Tec is aware of the aliens, because if you look at the Nuka-Cola world, if you look at the space exhibit, you can see that there is a Vault-Tec space exhibit. Which, why the fuck would they have a space exhibit? But also, there's Zetans down there. There's models of the aliens with the alien weapons, which means Vault-Tec already knows about them, is already aware of them, and most likely has already had an altercation with them. Now, the nuke in Megaton has the Vault-Tec symbol on it. What if Vault-Tec somehow communicated with the aliens, made a deal with them, told them to launch nukes, gave them the nukes to launch, and or even just launched them themselves or launched the first nuke. Either way, the first nukes were launched, and just as they were, Vault-Tec used the distraction of the nuclear launches to simultaneously launch only the priority people into space. Because they don't care about the vaults. They were never going to give an all clear. None of the vaults received an all clear notice. It was all just experimentation. And think about it, the super soldiers, the cryo, all of it. If you're going into space, your people are most likely going to they're going to need to be put into cryo sleep to survive for extended periods of time, years in space. They're going to need to be very well trained for combat if there's aliens in space. Hence the vault so you've got Vault 111 cryo sleep. You've got Vault 75 for super soldiers for training them. You've got Vault 95 for dealing with any addictions that they might deal with in space. You've got all of these other, and then you've even got like Vault 88, where you literally learn how to run a vault, how to start a vault. We already know that Vault-Tec was looking into that. Now, if you look at the Fallout show, there is an episode where you see a giant, super tall, cylindrical room. Now, we've been in a lot of vaults from Fallout 1 all the way to fucking Fallout 76. We've been in a lot of different vaults, but you've never seen a vault that looks like a shuttle launch area. Now, it doesn't look like a big one, but it does look like it might conceal a shuttle launch area. Now, the character that goes in there, I forget his name, because I don't really watch the show, but he runs in there and he goes to make a phone call. We don't know who he contacts, but my theory is that he's contacting either the Zetans or Vault-Tec to request extraction. Now, why don't we have evidence of a launch? Why don't we have evidence of, in the news? Well, because if Vault-Tec knew exactly when the nukes were going to launch, they would know exactly when to launch their spacecraft. Okay? Now, I do agree with you. If ships were launching into the air, surely somebody would have seen it. Somebody would have said something. Unless it's somewhere discreet. Unless it's somewhere unknown. Perhaps in a vault that's been sealed away. And we know in Fallout New Vegas, House had, what was it, Vault 32, Vault 23? He had that vault sealed up. In the Fallout show, one of the characters makes it into that vault. And that vault is the one that looks like the launch pad. So, what if House had it sealed up as a fuck you to Vault-Tec, and then somehow this guy managed to get into the vault? I don't know. I do find it interesting, but I don't know. I agree with you though, because if a ship took off in New Vegas of all places, House would know. House would be aware. The robots would remember. The residents would have heard stories of it, unless somebody was paid into secrecy. Unless House was paid into secrecy, House was at the table with Vault-Tec. There was a meeting, so maybe House was paid off by Vault-Tec.
Well, another thing is like there is a small part of the story, but there's another place where you can go in the Mojave. It's called the Repcon test site, and that place has like rockets that the ghouls jumped into, and you can send them to somewhere.
Yeah. That's the thing. What if there's other Repcon sites that were actually like successful and shit? You know what I mean? And correct me if I'm wrong, but don't the ships at the Repcon site look very similar to the ones at the Nuka-Cola space exhibit?
Well, yeah, but that's just because those are also like rockets, but those are like the human rockets, not like the alien UFOs.
Yeah, but think about it. If they're the human rockets, I don't know. I'd have to look back at it. But if it looks like the Zetan ships, that makes sense. But if it looks like the human rockets, then maybe those rockets are the ones that Vault-Tec used, and that's why they're at the Repcon site.
That could be a thing, but Vault-Tec wasn't based over in the Mojave. I think they might have had a Mojave wing, but it just depends on if there was anybody actually important enough for them to want to build the Repcon sites for those people to get away.
Because I don't know, because I'm just thinking here. If I'm Vault Tech and I have all of this preparation, I mean, think about it. The main character in 4 literally emphasizes multiple times that whatever Vault Tech was planning, they failed. But we literally know there's a Fallout Bible that literally says the whole fucking goal of Vault Tech has their goal written out. It says humanity's survival beyond Earth. Beyond Earth. That means that their plan isn't to help Earth. It's not to help people survive on Earth. It's to help humanity survive outside of Earth, to go beyond Earth. Now, in Fallout New Vegas, whenever we go to the alien ship, we don't see any debris around Earth. We don't see any shuttles that had been destroyed. We see no evidence that anybody tried to escape Earth, which means either one, they never did, or two, they were successful. Now, we've never run into any sort of evidence as to where did Vault Tech go. They disappeared like a ghost in the machine, right? Now, I personally think it would be dope to see a mission where I want Vault-Tec to be the bad guy so bad. I want there to be a game where Vault-Tec is the bad guy. Like maybe in one game, maybe it is based in San Francisco and maybe you do go after Vault-Tec or whatever the fuck. I would love to see, first of all, a reason to go after them, and second of all, like lore behind them, because I really do think Vault-Tec might have a monitoring base on the moon. I mean, they're rich enough. They might have a monitoring base on the moon. They had military funding. They had government funding. They had all of this money, you know? So why wouldn't they have a fucking base on the moon, you know? And I don't know. I think it would be cool. I think it would be
Like what
cool to
thing
see
we saw
because
in Nuka World of the stuff that they were of the technology, they just like stuff that was like freshly like done, not even like fully implemented yet. Like just off of that technology alone, I think like it wouldn't be too far fetched for them to be in space because they were able to like cut off people's heads, like founder of Nuka Cola, and make it to where he was able to stay alive for 200 years in his not really a vault, but like just a room that was meant for him.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm just like and the thing is you've got that and you've also got, the robo brains and you've got, all of this stuff. I mean, even in the Fallout show, you've got that one vault which is full of Vault Tech representatives that are supposed to run the vaults on Earth. That are one by one supposed to run the vaults on Earth. And I don't know, none of the vaults got the all clear, not even that vault. All the vaults failed. But what if they didn't fail? What if it was all intentional? What if everything was intentional, just so that only certain individuals could escape Earth and go live out in the stars? Because, like you said, it wouldn't be that far fetched. With the technology we see in Nuka Cola World, it wouldn't be that far fetched. I mean, they were literally keeping a head alive. Like, how could they not keep each other? They could definitely keep each other alive. I mean,
Also,
we
never
literally
mind,
see.
Ed, robo brains have been a thing since I think Fallout 3.
And we see in Vault 111 and Fallout 4 that cryosleep is doable. It only failed because the vault failed. But in the Fallout show, 9 years after the events of Fallout 4, we see another cryo vault where the Vault Tech representatives are, and that one's still alive and well. So we know that those guys are Vault-Tec representatives, but they're not. I don't think they're executives. They're just high-level members of Vault-Tec that were basically left behind. I think his name is Hank. He's the guy that goes to that big vault that looks like a launch silo. He even says like he hasn't heard anything from Vault-Tec. Wouldn't that be really? Isn't that really fucking weird? Like we've not seen or heard anything from this ominous company. And I do love how the Fallout show is very oriented towards Vault-Tec because it's the one company that we don't know much about. There's remnants of every big company in Fallout except for much of Vault-Tec. We don't see their headquarters. We don't see the bodies of their old CEO. We don't see none of that. But you're able to learn about all the other CEOs of every other company, like Hallucinogen and all, the Institute before it was the Institute and all this other shit. You're able to learn all this other stuff. And
Great
if there is
Easter
any, yeah,
was season 1 where they were all having that big meeting and there was one representative that was there from Big Mountain, and it said Big MT. That was one of my favorite
Yeah.
things. I love that DLC.
Yeah. I loved that, bro. Honestly, I love seeing the little tidbits. And for some Fallout fans, it doesn't make them upset because they're like, "Oh, I can't believe they made this lore accurate. I can't believe they made this canon. I can't believe they made that canon." It's like, dude, they like yeah, it sucks. In season 2, spoilers. I'm gonna have to put a spoilers warning on all this. But spoilers, in season 2, I heard that the king was a ghoul, like he died, and like he gets killed by the main character of the Fallout show. That sucks, you know. But also, you got to think like how many years after New Vegas or the events of the Fallout show? Like a lot. You know what I mean? I think it's like 50 years or some shit. Um, so it would make sense. Like they want to put the king in there, but they can't make him like super old because he was already like in his like 30s or 40s, I think, right? So they can't make him like 100 years old in the events of the show because that would be boring, you know. It's also implied that the house always wins is the one that won in Fallout New Vegas, which makes sense because he was definitely the powerhouse. There's been hints of who the courier might have been because of that random dude that just delivers packages. There's been a whole lot of stuff, and I'm really happy about it. I really am. Honestly, I think Fallout has a lot more room to grow. I hope they do more outside of like the 4 areas that they've explored. I would love to see a Fallout show in other countries. Like the London DLC was really cool, even though it was a fan made game and none of it's canon. I'd love to see an actual game based in London. I'd love to see one in like Chile. I'd love to see one in Bolivia or one over in the Philippines or even China. You know what I mean? I'd love to see one in Russia and like all these other countries. And I think there is a lot to do in America too. I would love to see other American states. I told you before, I think Oklahoma would be an interesting one. It's one that nobody would expect. I think Oklahoma's cool. Or at the very least, Texas. I mean, come on, dude. That would be cool as fuck. I would love to see New York, but even though they said New York was completely destroyed, you've got upstate New York. Upstate New York would not have really, I mean, it would have been hit a little bit, but there's nothing important up here. It's just mountains. You know what I mean? Imagine traversing the fucking Catskill Mountains or some shit. The Catskills are like the biggest mountains around. And you can see out for miles and miles and miles and miles. And I think that would be cool. You know? Florida or even Cuba or whatever. Like it would be so freaking awesome. Like imagine a Fallout game based in Cuba where you have a ship. You're in the Caribbean and you have a ship. That would be cool. Like you have to build a ship. That would be dope. I don't know. But I'm just excited for to learn more about Vaultec with the show, and hopefully in Fallout 5 we learn more about Vaultec as well. I think it is going to be based in San Francisco, but I kind of hope it isn't. I kind of hope it's based somewhere small and simple. Um, I don't know. But anyways, um, what do you think?
I think Oklahoma would be better than Texas too, simply because we could go the the Native American route, the Indian route, the tribe route, and we already have proof that that actually do well because in New Vegas we had the Honest Hearts DLC where uh, attacked by some tribal people, and their only thing is that they want to join with House or not House, with Caesar, and because Caesar knows that that's where Joshua Graham originated from, he told the Whitelegs to go there and wipe out those people.
I would love to see like Oklahoma, native land, the bison. I would love to see that. I would honestly love to see that. Like, could you imagine? Like, if there's any state that would survive a nuclear war, I feel like it would be Oklahoma. And I'm not saying survive, survive. I mean, like, not least impacted, but I mean one that like made it out. Because think about it, we don't have like Oklahoma doesn't have very many big cities. It's got Tulsa and Oklahoma City, and that's it. So like those would be the ones heavily impacted by the nukes, sure. But then outside of that, you've got farmland, you got native tribal grounds. Like imagine playing a Fallout game where you're not dealing with the Brotherhood of Steel or the Enclave or the Railroad or the Institute. You're dealing with the Cherokee tribe, the Chickasaw, the Seminole, all these different tribes, and they're they're doing well for themselves. because they live by the land. They don't live by the laws. They're not trying to rebuild society. They're taking care of their own. They're taking care of the land and they're respecting the land, you know? I think that would be dope.
And like, while this would be something for them to do, but I don't want to see is I wouldn't want to see like another like it's white people versus Native American thing because we've done that so much already in other media. Like it it would be the obvious thing to do, but I just wouldn't want to see it simply because we've done that already.
I
Like
think the
we need
biggest I think the biggest thing that any Fallout needs is a uniting. Like if they did something where it was like a uniting of the tribes, that would be cool. Like like you go to Oklahoma, you start out in Oklahoma, whatever. Maybe you know what? Maybe you're a fucking cowboy. Who knows? You know what I mean? I mean, in the area, it would make sense. Maybe you're a caravan trader. Maybe you're a mercenary, whatever. But you start out in Oklahoma and you're uniting the tribes. That's the big thing. Is there's some conflict. Maybe you're escorting a trader. Maybe you're a mercenary, you're escorting a trader, and you get caught up in the middle of a battlefield between two tribes, and you get injured, and you get taken up by one of the tribes. They heal you to full health, whatever, and then they basically tell you like, oh hey, like this is our belief system. You know, we live by the land. We take care of one another. We
they
don't
could be
care
a
about
Native
the
American
old
baddie.
war. We don't care about no new war. We just care about the land and respecting it. It's not our land. It's not ours to own. It's nobody's to own. It's just where we are, and we live by the land. And then they could talk about the conflict with the other tribes, you know. And imagine if like a conflict enters. Like, what if it is the Brotherhood of Steel? What if we make the Brotherhood of Steel the enemy? You know, like we see the Pridwin airship fly over or some shit, you know, and then we all have to like we have to band the tribes together to avoid being wiped out by. But then again, no, the Brotherhood wouldn't make sense because the Brotherhood cares about technology. They wouldn't care about tribals, would they?
Not unless they had some kind of technology, which
Yeah.
wouldn't be impossible because plagues, the sorrows, and the dead horses all had a thing that was unique to them. Like
It
the
would be
white
cool to
leg,
see.
I don't remember what the white legs had, but they had their thing, which was I think a lot of like fire weapons. Dead horses were the ones that like did stuff with the 45 caliber weapons, like 45 caliber pistols, submachine guns, all that. Sorrows, they kind of were more tribal than the other ones because they actually used like war clubs and gauntlets made from Yao Guai.
Think about it like this though, bro. Like, what if? Because those are the tribes of like of Vegas, you know, of the Mojave. What if? And I'm just spitballing here, but what if like in Oklahoma, like what if they did a game in Oklahoma and the tribes maybe they do have technology, but I would also love like you know how like Far Cry Primal was like so different than all the other Far Cry games, and they had like this system like you have spears, you have bow and arrow, you have all these primal weapons. That would be so cool to see. You know, maybe you could go out there and learn how to tame some of the animals and tame a fucking deathclaw eventually or some shit. I would fucking love that, dude. I would love that so much.
Well, I don't know if there would be any Jackson chameleons around Oklahoma. I don't know about the zoology and all that. We would
Yeah.
need something like
I
don't get me
mean,
wrong, Death. We would
I
need
mean for
something.
all, I feel like for Oklahoma, it could be like I don't know, like cougars. We have some alligators. I mean, it could be some alligator or oriented thing.
Claws are a thing, but those were created in the of Nuka world.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense. It would just be like a naturally mutated thing. It'd have to be a naturally mutated. And I honestly would love to see like free roaming bison. I would love to fucking see free roaming bison. You know, like imagine the one animal to survive the nuclear apocalypse, to have like barely any sort of radiation effect, would be the bison. Because think about the resilience of that animal, how much it's survived, what it's gone through, and how much farmland and how much native land is in Oklahoma. It would take a whole lot. Who would nuke farmland? Who would nuke native land? You know what I mean? Like the only reason the Mojave is the Mojave, The only reason New Vegas was nuked is because it's New Vegas, but everything around it, there's no nukes in the middle of the desert, right?
Yeah. However, it's also a thing of like there has to be something in the game for it to be like interesting enough for people to play it. Which I'm not saying that, you know, learning to live like the natives did can be interesting, but I feel like some people wouldn't want to do it just because it would be based on them and not like, you know, main idea of Fallout, which is that there's always going to be as long as there's people.
No, that's the thing. You've got Oklahoma City and Tulsa. That's where the big things are. That's where the big cities are. You got Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Just like how, and you've got Boston and Fallout 4. And you've got New Vegas and, well, in New Vegas. So like every game has its capital city, has its main spot. So Oklahoma City and Tulsa, those are the two main spots. I honestly think Tulsa would probably be taken over by like a big faction. Like what if Tulsa just a spin off of like like what if it was like organized crime, you know? Like organized crime family. And that would be really cool to see. Honestly, if there was anything that I was hoping to see, like either in like a New York or whatever, would be like a big crime boss thing. And after Tulsa King released, it'd be super cool to see like a organized crime boss family taking over Tulsa, and then Oklahoma City could be like split up between different factions, and that's where the main storyline happens. What if the main storyline is that, but then you also have this side storyline, like, what if you have a big conflict between Tulsa and Oklahoma City, the factions of Oklahoma City, the settlements around, and Tulsa, and then you have like the tribes surrounding those two cities that also have their own conflict. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like if you want,
another thing is like how most tribes they have like a chief, like a war chief, or just the chief in general.
yeah,
Those people, you can give them like power armor. It can be either T-45, T-51, either one. But as long as like they have something that's unique to them.
yeah. I would like to see like T-51 armor or T-60 or whatever, like it be decorated in a way that complements the chief, complements the tribe. Like imagine armor like specifically like with like feathers and stuff that really complement the chief, really complement the tribe, and make sense for their chieftain. Um, but yeah. Oh, it is almost 4 o'clock. I have to end this real soon.
Oh, okay.
But is there anything you want to say before we end the episode?
Um, I mean, the thing about this is hope. So I would
Yeah.
say understand that whatever problems people are dealing with right now, however big they are temporary problems. And if you feel like you don't have somebody to rely on, there is somebody, whether in your life or there's a community you can go to, and there are people that are willing to help you.
Yeah, and the big thing with an episode like this, a lot of people might be questioning like, how is it relevant to the podcast? The thing is we all have our hobbies, and some people might think that, oh, playing video games is an escape. It's not. It's a release. It's a way of exercising the brain and coming up with little theories and ideas and keeping your mind active, and it's a way to like relieve stress. If it's something, and we all have something like that, whether it's reading or writing or playing a game, we all have something that really helps us deal with the noise of the world. And like you said, we all have people around us that we can rely on, people that we can hang on to, and like our friendship is like ancient at this point. I can't see a reason why we would ever stop talking. Honestly, we have people like that, people that have been in our lives for a long time that we can lean on, that we can have fun with, we can relax with,
Right, I
and
went to
that's how
all
we're gonna
your
deal. So that's how we're gonna deal with the noise of the world, is just kind of sticking together. So I appreciate you for coming on the podcast, Laroy.
Hey there, this is friend of the show, Anthony Ziello, and I just wanted to say thanks for stepping into the walk-in today. If this episode spoke to you, go ahead and follow the show, and catch us every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can find the walk-in on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you listen. And if you want to hang with our community, come join the Discord. We'd love to have you there. A huge shout out to the Podmatch community for having us with them. Their support for Dreamers is unmatched. Until next time, take a breath, stay inspired, and as always, we'll walk together again next week.